Welcome back. All right, so here you are. We're into chapter 10 of what is the third book in the trilogy here. So page 328 for anybody following along. Does anybody have it? Anyways, it's all fine. All right, so Sabal looks at Falteris as it grows in the distance. It looks to be unprotected, and he will overwhelm them. He knows this needs to be a fast takeover. The sooner he can get to the planet's surface and reveal himself as the rightful leader over the entire galaxy, the better. He wants to have his position on that world established so that any kind of coup or resistance will be facing a much tougher task than simply repelling an attack such as the one he's about to order. The first issue will be the outposts near Falteris, well-armed space stations meant to alert Falteris to a coming attack and to help defend it against whoever might be behind said attack. There would be minor challenges to Sabal, and he was looking forward to destroying these relics that were hardly able to fight one of his fighter class ships, much less a warship that was being commanded by him now. Rek isn't happy. R-E-K. Rek isn't happy. He felt that a wormhole jump right to Falteris. And past the defenses was smarter. He already believed they were likely not going to have the element of surprise Sabal was counting on anyway. So they needed to act fast and give them as little lead time to prepare as possible. He really hates the fact that this warship is only moving at half of its normal speed, as if they need to relish the moment and draw it out for the sake of someone recording this for future history classes. Send out the fighters, Sabal orders, and the 50 ships in their landing bay are given the green light to begin their attack mission against any target Sabal is designated for destruction. A swarm of Altilian fighters streams out of the landing bay of Sabal's ship, and he smiles as they quickly overwhelm the outposts nearest to that ship. They continue on their way to Falteris at maximum speed, while Sabal's ship continues its methodical pace. Sir, we really should get to Falteris as soon as possible. There's nothing to be gained by being so deliberate in our movements, Rek explains. He's treading lightly here so he doesn't want to get shot by Sabal for questioning leadership. There's nothing out there that can stop us. We've found no signs of the Guardian, the Vindicator, or any of the members of their crews. The crews of those ships, including the most willing men and women to fight on their side. What we are left to fight now are the cowards and the women. Talia Laris is dead and her world's in chaos. Now we sweep in, take over, and bring order out of chaos. My order. I didn't mean to question you, dear leader, but sending 50 fighters to attack the surface of their world will draw attention of Earth. Sabal laughs. Earth's next on our list, Rek. If they send help to Falteris, they'll only hasten their own demise. Their best ships are nowhere to be found, and their world is hardly united against us either. Once we finish conquering Falteris, then Earth will follow soon after. Rek knows deep down that this isn't as cut and dried as all that. He knows that they are facing a foe that could inflict serious casualties on their forces and potentially draw the battle out for days or even weeks. He also knows they might be forced to raze Falteris to the ground before they'll admit defeat. Again, he cannot say these things right now or risk being made an example of by a nearly completely insane Sabal. Their ship continues on its methodical journey towards the ultimate goal, all systems running at full power, and no signs of any resistance that they're unable to deal with just yet. So far, everything's running as smoothly as Sabal predicted. Next scene. Sarai knew she was going to be right, and the attack begins with Altilian fighters streaming into her city. Her fleet of KG-329 fighters meet them in the air, thanks to the advanced warning they had of the impending attack. She makes her way into an underground tunnel and hurries down a long corridor towards a platform no one would recommend she be running to. This is still about her sister and making things right by her memory. As she reaches the end of the corridor and makes her way up a flight of concrete stairs to the landing platform, she finds Colonel Max Cameron waiting for her. I had a feeling you'd try something like this. I have everyone ready to fight. You need to be taken somewhere safe. There is nowhere safe. I'm not hiding while these invaders destroy my world. Max grabs Sarai by the shoulders and tries to settle her down, even as explosions cause the ground to shake beneath their feet. These are trained soldiers, ready for combat, and I didn't have to twist many of their arms into this. The KG-329 fighters we have will overpower those fighters. There appears to be only about 50 of them, too. I'm not going to stand by the sidelines and wait for something to happen, she says. And then she knees Max in the groin as hard as she can. He doubles over and she kicks him to the side. She kicks him in the side of the head. She winces and turns, heading to the nearest KG 329 fighter. Sorry, Colonel, I have to do this, she explains as she climbs into the cockpit. Max gets to his feet slowly and watches as Sarai starts the fighter jet up, puts her on her helmet, and then soars into the sky above. We already lost one leader, we don't need to lose her too, he says to himself. Sarai was trained on a fighter jet by her father Cordell when she was a young girl. There were little differences between the jet she had learned to fly and this one. In this moment, she misses her father dearly and becomes aware that she is all that is left of her family line now that Tally is gone. This flight is a testament to both her will and her father's ability to train a fighter pilot. She understands why Max was trying to stop her, but she has to make a difference in her own terms now. She has to stop playing it safe. She knows the people who elected her would likely not be happy with her flying a fighter like this, but she has to do what's right now and forget what's necessarily popular. She has tied her blonde hair back in a ponytail for the first time since her father taught her to fly a jet. She feels like a kid again, though this time she isn't flying with decoys, and they won't be at a setting which allows her to make easy kills. She spots one Altilian fighter right away and decides this will be her target. The fighter's making dangerous maneuvers between the buildings in Jarnon, which is the capital city of Falteris, and Sarai takes the dare, following that ship move for move while keeping her finger near the trigger to take the first enemy craft down. She keeps her vision forward and avoids spotting the people running in the streets. The other fights focus going on nearby that are causing destruction of old buildings built centuries before she was born. She's focused just on that ship in front of her. Just as she feels she has her best shot, the fighter abruptly turns skyward. She's forced to follow it, which nearly makes her throw up. The force being applied to her body is almost enough to make her pass out as she flies from 50 feet up to 5,000 feet up in mere seconds. The KG-329 isn't stressed about this, but she wasn't made to handle it as well as the fighter was. She takes a deep breath, as deep as she can anyway, and keeps her breathing under control as her father had trained her to do. She can almost feel him there with her now, helping to guide her hand as she refuses to let this Altilian fighter out of her sight. She then spots another Altilian fighter approaching from her right. She's forced to peel away and head back towards the ground just as that second fighter opens fire, barely missing her. She then turns her fighter quickly to pursue the second one. She squeezes off a few laser rounds in the direction of that ship and nicks the tail of it. The ship spins briefly, and then she takes aim again. The ship is hit on the tail, ripping the tail section off of the fighter, and she watches as it spirals down towards the city below. The sight of the enemy crashing into her city makes her heart sink. No matter how this battle turns out, nothing will ever be the same for her people again. She then blinks a few times before turning her attention back to the first fighter, only to find it's now behind her. He opens fire and she again dives to avoid a direct hit. A laser manages to hit the side of the left wing, and she loses control of her fighter momentarily. She mumbles to herself about staying in control, and then she brings the ship back into a position that points it towards space. She hits the thrusters and speeds towards orbit of the planet. Out of the corner of her eye, Sarai can see the curvature of the planet, and she tries to tell herself not to pay attention to that. Her father never let her fly this high. She'd never been trained on space travel at all, and she knew this was a tremendous risk added to an already precarious situation. She's just focused on taking out as many of these fighters as she can. Just as the sky around her window turns from blue to black, she sees a massive ship coming, and she instinctively pitches the fighter away from it. She sees the large ship firing and is relieved when the ship destroys the Altilian that had been following her instead. She then executes a 180 roll and heads towards the massive ship. It's one of her own, so she might as well land there and get a front seat to the defense of her world. Next scene. Rob Webster's certainly not ready for this. Word had reached Earth of an attack on Falteris. Though its scope is targeted and not a full-on assault by the entire Altilian fleet, there are Rumors now that there will be a full-on attack soon enough, and Earth is being called upon to help. This means getting a crew together for the peace restorer, and Rob is one of the first to get the call. Rob is worried about the ability to fight this battle, as is his brother Steve, who is at his side on a shuttle boarding the peace restorer. They haven't been to this ship in some time, spending their time mining minerals from the atmosphere of Jupiter for shipment to a mineral-starved Earth. It's hard work, but it's something they've enjoyed. Now, they have to turn their attention back to the military in a battle that will certainly be vicious and brutal. Steve isn't as nervous as Rob regarding their role in the battle. He is fully confident in the peace restorer and its ability to fight against anything Altilians can throw at them. He also knows that Falteris has been working on new warships as well, so this won't be the slaughter that some on the other side might be expecting. The younger Webster brothers are more easygoing than John or Jim. They're not fighters if they can avoid it. They're more laid back, and they had been trying to do their part for the war effort without being part of the fighting. It's not a matter of confidence as much as knowing what their strengths are. They're hard workers and not leaders leaders that John and Jim have proven themselves to be. This is expected to all change right now as they find Alice and Hannon waiting for them and they step off the shuttle. Glad you guys came. We were told we were needed, so there was no debate about whether we'd come or not, Rob says. I'm going to ask why we're being seen as commanding officers, though. John and Jim are missing. The Guardian, Vindicator, and E-215 haven't been seen, and now Falteris is being attacked. That leaves us without 3 of our strongest ships, and more importantly, some of our best leaders. I need you guys to step up and help lead this crew, Allison explains. What happened to those ships, Rob asks. We're still investigating what happened, but we believe that is why Altil is trying to finish the war right now. They likely perceive weakness within our allied forces and want to exploit that. I know you two have great leadership qualities in you. You just need a chance to show it. I'm giving you that chance while asking you to help us. Steve and Rob look at each other, and it's Steve who answers her. If we do this, I want in on the next Earth project. Next being capitalized. Allison looks around nervously and then answers Steve. No one knows about that. We know and we want in on it, Steve says. Allison sighs. Your mineral mining work is second to none. Our terraforming skills will amaze you as well, Rob says. He had heard the next Earth rumors, but he had no clue Steve planned to use it for leverage here. He isn't opposed to that idea, though it seems like a bad time for bargaining. Fine, we'll get you on that project only after we defend our allies and hopefully bring an end to this damned war, Allison says, and she shakes hands with Steve and Rob on the agreement. Now, let's get back in there before it's too late, she adds, leading them out to the landing bay. Steve and Rob follow behind, looking around at the impressive architecture within this ship, every edge rounded off and even the interior looking sleek and smooth. They leave the landing bay and enter a hallway to the elevator. They don't speak as they stand next to Allison in the elevator and it starts towards the bridge. Once they reach the bridge, they both see a young crew ready to set out to battle. Steve and Rob are only in their 20s themselves, but this crew's younger than they are. Many of them appearing to be in their late teens and apparently quite nervous about what they're being sent into. Allison addresses them. Ladies and gentlemen, we're headed into a battle which may be the most dangerous our world has ever been a part of. I know many of you lack experience in war, and many of you are just out of school and never expected to be placed in this position as young cadets. I thank you for agreeing to be here and for showing me I was always right about the courage of our people. Standing behind me are Steve and Rob Webster, 2 men who, along with their brothers, helped save this world before. They're here to help us save it again. During most incidents involving Altilians, I have been home sitting behind a desk and making decisions from there. I will not be behind a desk this time. I will be fighting alongside each and every one of you, serving as an advisor to Rob and Steve here, your commanding officers. Rob will captain this ship with Steve as his second in command. Do as they say. Believe in what we're fighting for. That's all I can ask. How many more pages do I have in this? I think we could stop there.
Okay.
I think we could stop there. But see, I'm keeping it going. The battle is still going, and as I've explained before, I had to have this all written out on a big old piece of poster board where I had everything all drawn out so that I knew what was going on and who was where and what was happening when. Because reading it, Yeah, and because it's been so long since I read the other parts, I'm like, oh yeah, right, oh yeah, and this makes me want to write more of it. So there's that problem because I don't really have the time.
Right.
But I do want to see what other stories these guys have to tell us. So, anyways, there you go. That's it for this entry. 15 minutes and all that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're wondering what this is, there's a playlist. It goes through the entire 3-book series, and this has now been going on for 2.5 years. So I intend to finish it. You guys can see it's almost finished. We're almost there. And there I am on the back. So thanks guys for watching, for all your support, and I will talk to you again soon.